G'day reefers, I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Welcome to Gallery Aquatica TV. Today is a huge day in the life of the SPS Mothership. This 7,000 litre reef tank is finally ready for us to start gluing corals into it. Now we have the scape ready, and what we're going to do is we're going to choose out 5 corals that we are going to glue onto the aquascape. We're going to talk about the corals, why we've chosen them. We'll show you how we glue them into the scape and exactly where they're going to go to get the best growth and colour in the SPS Mothership. For those of you who've been following the build of the SPS Mothership, we recently did the aquascape, or we've done at least 3 of what will be 5 bommies for the aquascape. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to start by putting coral on this bommy on the left-hand side, and we're choosing this one because we've got the best light on this section here. We haven't quite completed the lighting system down the other end of this tank, and so you can see we've got a tall bommy, and of course with the position of the corals we're going to have to consider things such as the amount of light and the amount of water flow. And so you can see we've got some really nice points that we will choose some corals that are going to sit on. We'll have things like stag corals up high. We'll probably have some Montipora and things that are going to scroll out and plate out. So we'll have to consider the exact location that they go relative to the scape so that we can ensure they don't shade other things too much and they're going to get the light and the flow that they need. So this is a bommy. We're going to choose our first 5 corals out. Let's have a look at our propagation ponds and we'll start to choose the first 5 corals for the SPS Mothership. The corals that we're going to choose for the SPS Mothership are going to come out of our 2 propagation ponds, and we use these ponds to hold mother colonies that we then will frag out or frag up and grow out for sale at our stores and on our website. Now there's a huge range of corals in here, and so we're going to have a great selection to choose from, but I've already worked out my first coral, and so I want to show you that one. It's in this pond here. It's one of my favorites. Let's check it out. So Dallas Aquapora. This is the first coral I think of when I think about corals I want to put in the SPS Mothership, and as you can see it's a stag aquapora. It's incredibly fast growing, it's incredibly popular. It's probably one of the most popular aquaporas because it's such a beautiful emerald green and it's fast growing and it's very easy too. It'll tolerate quite high nutrients, but in the right environment it's such a fast growing coral that I really like the idea of having it high on our scape and having it grow up towards the top of the tank. So we've just got a little tub. We'll put this colony in the tub, and then we'll choose out the second coral for the SPS Mothership. Number 1, Dallas Aquapora. So the second coral we're going to glue into the SPS Mothership is this fluoro green candy cane or Colostra, and this is probably my favorite candy cane coral because it is so bright. In certain tanks that we look after, it grows incredibly quickly, and I think having it positioned with the right amount of light is probably the key for that. It's a great coral, it's really easy to frag, and it's another one that I've never really had a colony that we have in one of our personal tanks that is growing crazy enough to take frags. Most of these have come from clients' tanks and shutdowns and that sort of thing. So fluoro green candy cane is our second coral for the SPS Mothership. So I've actually just found another one that's actually even better. So I'll put that in. That's number 2. Coral number 3, let's put over here, is green scrolling Monty. Now this is actually a frag or a piece that I glued onto a rock a few weeks ago, and it doesn't really look like very much at the moment. However, green scrolling Monty is a really awesome underrated coral that it's another one, we really haven't had a huge amount of it, and I'm really keen to have a big scroll in the SPS Mothership. Now, we're going to have to be very careful with how we position this one, because it is certainly the type of coral which may shade others. So it likes a lot of light, but putting it in a position where it's not going to shade others may be the challenge with this piece. So here we have a blue stag that we've had as a strain at Gallery Aquatica for ages, and under the right amount of light it gets really intense blue, especially at the coral lights at the tips of the branches. And this is a larger piece that it belongs to a customer of ours. We're just looking after it, but we do have a smaller frag, and so today I'm going to glue in this smaller frag. I'm going to want it up highest on this bommy that we're gluing onto, because it really needs a lot of light to look its best. So this will be the next piece for the SPS Mothership. Okay. So here's the next coral for the SPS Mothership. It's we call it Pavona cactus. It also gets called potato chip coral, but it's a very unique coral in the way it grows. You can see it has these sails or chips, and it's a particularly interesting coral. I love the look of it. I put it in lots of tanks. It's very hardy, easy to keep, but it adds a texture that you just don't get from anything else. This is a particularly nice strain. It's hard to see with this light, but it's got a really nice subtle green. It's a particularly easy coral to frag, so it'll be an easy one for us to get in and cut out a piece whenever we need it. But I really want to see this become a big colony, because you don't see big colonies of this coral very often. So this is our 5th coral for the SPS Mothership. We now have our first 5 corals for the SPS Mothership, and it's time to glue them in. But before we do so, I want to show you exactly what we're going to be using as we do this job. And the first, probably most important, is we're going to be dipping our corals. So we have a little dip bucket. We're going to fill that with water out of the system, and we're going to use Bloody Good Dip. Now, this is a particularly good dip for flatworms, but it will help with all the pests that could potentially come in on the corals into the SPS Mothership. We are also going to use a mask, because I'm going to need to see what I'm doing under the water. We really want to make sure that these corals are glued in well, and visibility will be important. We're going to be using Ecotech CG. Now, this is probably the best glue for this application. Some of these coral colonies are quite large, so having a gel glue like the CG is very important. And of course, we're going to be swimming, so I need a towel. And last of all, we need my boardies, and it's time for me to get changed. So it's time to glue in our corals into the SPS Mothership, but we have to get a couple of things ready first, and we've already done most of it. So the most important thing was our dip. We've added 100 ml of the Bloody Good Dip to 2 litres of water. So we've got our dip in here. The best thing about this dip is that you don't need to rinse the coral before you put it into the tank. So we've got our dip ready, we've got our glue here. Everything is close, so I don't need to get out of the SPS Mothership for anything. Really, we should be good to go. I just have to jump in this tank. I just need a minute. It's 26 degrees in here. It should feel like a bath, but every time I just need a little moment to acclimate. What I will do whilst I'm acclimating, I'll get our Dallas and I'll put it in the dip. Now, Dallas is
really prone to acro-eating flatworm. And what I've done in preparation for today is I've actually given this piece of Dallas 3 dips in the last 10 days. And in the first couple of dips, heaps of worms came off this piece. And the last dip that I did 2 or 3 days ago now, no worms came off. So I'm pretty confident that we can put this Dallas in and it's not going to introduce a problem with worms. So just looking at it now, looks like there's no worms to be seen, so we're pretty safe. But I'll give it another minute or so and it'll let me acclimate. Let's get our glue ready. Now that the Dallas is ready, let's think about where we're going to put it. All our pieces today are going to go on this bombing just here, and I think I'll put the Dallas up the top here. It's not a coral which is going to shade the others anytime soon. Certainly when a big colony like the Magic Mountains will certainly shade, but I think if we put this colony here, we're going to be pretty safe for a long time, and I think it's going to sit nicely and it's going to get good light. So let's put our glue on and we'll glue this piece in. So I'm going to be generous, and the trick is a big dollop. I'm going to go straight down into that spot as quickly as possible. This is harder than I thought it would be. Okay. I'm just moving the glue around to ensure that it contacts the sides of the scape, of the rock, and it has, and now I'm just getting the position right, and that's exactly what I wanted. So there we go. First coral done. Right, this is going to be a harder one. I'm going to want this piece lower in the tank. So I'm going to have to go down and have a look. Okay, that's where I want it, and I want it on that angle too. So I've looked at where the contact is, right there. Okay, hopefully it doesn't fall. It should be okay if it's still there in 30 seconds, so it should be good. Number 3. Which is number 3? I don't think matters too much. We'll glue this one in, the burrowing cactus. Now, I really want this on a vertical side, mainly because it's one of the few things that you can kind of glue vertically. I'm going to go down and have a look where, no, actually maybe I'll just, alright, I think just here. So that pavone cactus, one of the reasons why I really want it in the tank was also because it does very well in relatively low light, and I think that spot is going to be pretty good, and there's really very few corals that we could have put in that position. So yeah, I think that's going to be a good option. Alright, so I've got two corals here. We've got the green scrolling Monty. I've got no idea where I'm going to put that. I just place it here for now. But this this blue stag, it really needs good light. I think I'm going to put it right on the tip. No, I'll put it here. Okay, so it's going to go like that. So you'll see, I'm actually going to glue onto tissue here. It doesn't really matter. Okay, now this. So this green Monty, I glued it onto this rock a few weeks ago, but I think I'm going to have to take it off because I really don't think there's anywhere for this piece of rock. I'll see if I can get it off. Ah, there you go, I've ruined it. So I'll just take this one part here. I'll put this other bit just down here for now. Alright, so I'm going to put it down here, well, up here, and in the future I'll probably put something on this peak here, but I think that if I let this Monty grow around the back, it'll probably be, it'll probably grow well, and also it's not going to shade so much because there's not going to be too much behind this structure. If it grows forwards, I'll just frag it off. This is an easy one to glue. There's even exposed tissue, base skeleton there. Okay, there we go. So there we go. We have our first 5 corals in the SPS Mothership. Now, we'll bring you back in future episodes. I can't wait to see how they grow out. I think that they're going to look really good where they are, but I'm most excited about the next part to this series where we glue in the next 5 corals. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to choose out the corals, show you, tell you why we've chosen them, and show you exactly how we glue them into this awesome reef tank. And that's it for today's episode of Gallery Aquatica TV. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Happy reefing! That's it for this week's episode of Gallery Aquatica TV. Don't forget to like and comment on all our videos and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned to Gallery Aquatica TV for more exciting episodes to come. I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Happy reefing!